Hello and welcome back to Fitness Friday with Johnny Tiger. The date is November 13, 2020. Back when I was growing up and when I first started working out, building muscles, I guess I was like 12 years old at the time, technically too young to be allowed into fitness centers and weight rooms. But in Taiwan, we didn't worry about uh, rules and regulations like that. So I was able to go into the weight room and do bench press and stuff like that at 12. Uh, saying going into the weight room is being a little bit generous because I remember the fitness center we went to back then. It was like the entire thing was like outdoors. It was like an outdoor area with a lot of free weights and a couple of pieces of equipment, and the whole place just stunk really bad of sweat and the people smoking. Like there were actually people sitting on the weight bench lifting weight and smoking a cigarette or chewing the betel nuts or drinking beer. It was just like a very surreal time to grow up in a place that seemingly rules didn't apply to hardly anybody. I didn't have a professional trainer, but I did have a good trainer. He was my dad. Now, unfortunately, my dad, while he knew how to build muscles, he didn't know all the educational stuff. He didn't know all the book stuff. He didn't know what muscle did what to what muscle. He didn't know like if you do the work this muscle, you can work the other muscle, and they can complement each other. He didn't know any of that. He knew one way of doing things, which was more weight, faster, more reps, and harder. That was it. So all that pre-rambling is to say that my dad when he was teaching us how to work our bicep, he didn't teach us anything but one way. You do bicep curl, and then you do bicep curl, and then you do more bicep curl. You just pick up bigger weight, but you just do one kind of bicep curl. That's it. That's how he knew how to build bicep, and that's how he taught us. Like just one way, no other movement, just one thing to do. You grab your dumbbell or your barbell, and then you do bicep curl until your biceps ready to fall off, and then you do some more bicep curl. I often say that people today, we live in a very fortunate time. There's a lot of books, there's a lot of freedom of information. You go on YouTube, you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram. There's always new things you can look at, and new ways of working out. Other people find new ways of teaching what they do to people free of charge. Yeah, I mean, some people try to sell DVDs and videos and subscriptions, but there's a lot of people, myself included, that are perfectly willing to share what we can do, what we do, free, totally free. Here on YouTube, over there on the Johnny Tiger Experience podcast, the best podcast in the world, by the way. Anyway, so today I want to show you guys that no, there's definitely more than one way to do bicep curls. Today I'm going to show you guys 7 ways to do bicep curl. Before we begin, let me go grab my resistance band because one of those ways requires one. And I was tardy enough to actually forgot to grab one. I know you guys can still hear me. I'm not on the screen, but I still have my headset, and I'm walking in here into the training room where the new kitten have set up shelter. Hello, Aslan. Aslan, that's the name of the new kitten. And here we are, resistant band. By the way, if you have one, you might want to grab it too. Like I said, that is one of the 7 ways of doing bicep curls. I'm going to show you that today. You also need a dumbbell or a couple of filled water bottles if you don't have dumbbells at home. But that's pretty much all you'll need. You'll need uh, a resistance band, dumbbell, or any kind of free weight, and a high backed chair that you can sit on and use for some of these. Bicep number one. By the way, before we get into that, let me quickly say that I'm by no means the sole expert. I'm not even an expert on bicep. Just look at uh, these here. I mean, I barely have any bicep. What am I talking about, right? So anyway, bicep exercise number one. This is called the concentration curl. Normally we do this sitting down, but I'm going to do a standing up just so you guys can see it better. If you are sitting down, you want to anchor the back of your elbow against the inside of your thigh. So let's say you're curling with your right hand. You want to anchor your right elbow to the inside of your right thigh. Put your left hand on your left knee for stability and curl while keeping your elbow anchored against your thigh. Now, since I'm standing, I'm going to put my foot up on the chair and put my elbow inside of my thigh. Curl, curl, curl. Just like that. Curl, curl. That is the concentration curl. What's really good about this curl? Well, it's good. It's actually a pretty nice massage for the inside of your knee, inside of the thigh. But what's really good is it kills any kind of momentum. You're not swinging this up because your arms anchored in place. So you're only using your bicep when you do that one. That's why it's called a concentration curl. Exercise number two, similar to the concentration curl. This one is called the preacher curl. Now normally you need a preacher bench for this, but you can actually do it by sitting backward in your chair or just standing on the back at the back of your chair, standing behind your chair. Assuming you have a high back chair like I do here, you might want to put a pillow over the top of the back of the chair for cushion. But basically, this is what you do. With the dumbbell in your hand, you're going to rest your elbow on the top of the back of your chair. Okay, like this, just like I'm just resting my elbow on the top of the chair. Okay, so when I let the arm go straight, I want to do it nice and slow. Don't want to hyperextend my arm. This is also very good for stretching your bicep. And then curl in, slowly let it out. Curl in, slowly let it out. And curl in, and slowly let it out. That is the preacher curl. Number three, the spider curl. The spider curl is basically the same idea as a concentration curl, but rather than using the inside of our leg, we are going to stand up straight and rest the back of our arm, our tricep, against either the chair, or you can use the door frame if you want, or the wall, anything solid. So Since I got the chair here, I'm just going to use the chair. I rest my tricep against the back of the chair. I'm kind of in a bit of a crouch here because otherwise I can't reach the chair. But if you have a high enough chair, or like I said, if you want to use the door frame, you can do that. Just rest the back of your arm against the door frame so there's nowhere for your arm to swing. Grab your dumbbell and curl while keeping your arm anchored against the chair or the door frame. Just like that. Number 4, the hammer curl. The hammer curl is one of those curls that are extremely good for working your forearm and the outside portion of your bicep. And all it requires is you change your grip. Normally when we are curling, we hold the dumbbell with our hand underneath our palm towards the ceiling. With the hammer curl, we'll hold it like we're holding a hammer, so the palm is facing the side. This is called neutral grip, like this, like holding a water bottle. Yeah? Okay? So with the hammer grip, you can do any of the ones we already said. You can do the spider curl, you can do the preacher curl, you can do regular curl, you can do concentration curl. Just holding it in a uh, regular grip, in the hammer grip. And then you curl, curl, curl. I'm switching hand. Curl, curl, curl. That is the hammer curl. Next up, I'm going to show you guys the Zuckman curl. That is curl number 5, the Zuckman curl. What is the Zuckman curl? The Zuckman curl is a very dynamic kind of curl, which means you start when your dumbbell. Let me stand sideways to the camera so you guys hopefully can see better. At the bottom of the dumbbell, when my arm is straight, I'm holding it underhand, so my palm faces forward. But as I curl up, I'm twisting my wrist, so by the time the dumbbell is at my shoulder, I'm holding it in a motorcycle grip. My palm is facing downward. And then when I go back down, again, I'm rotating my forearm and wrist. So when you go back to straight, my palms facing forward again. So you're twisting, rotating your wrist and forearm every time you move. This is the Zuckman curl. And this is great for involving a lot of your other muscles. It's good for focusing, it's good for activating all kind of stuff in your shoulder, arm, and bicep. Twist, twist. Just like that. Let me face the camera so you guys can see it from the front angle. Twist, 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 twist. I'm twisting my forearm and wrist every time I move the dumbbell. Number 6, the step curl. The step curl is a more focused kind of curl, and it is a little bit involve a little bit more movement. We start off in a regular curl position, holding it underhanded, palm facing forward, dumbbell hanging by my side in my right hand. Before I start the curl, I'll take one step forward with my right foot and swing my right arm forward at the shoulder like I'm pointing at the ground. And then when my foot touches down, I curl. And then when my arm comes down, it's still pointing at the ground in front of my foot. And then I step back and let my shoulder swing back to neutral. And then I step forward, shoulder swing forward, curl, down, step back, shoulder back to neutral. The reason for this to be very effective is because when you step forward and engage your shoulder, you're already engaging all the muscles ready for your curl. And then when you do the curl from this angle, you'll notice it's actually a lot harder because it's isolating your bicep. Last but not least, the band curl. This is where we use the resistance band. Now, some people ask, so what is the point? Or like, is there any difference between using a resistance band and free weights? Actually, there is. You see, when you are using free weight, the hardest part of the curl is the beginning, when you are at the bottom. So what that means, the higher it gets, the more you get to the end, the easier it is. So for the most part, the only part of your muscle it's really getting the workout is whatever part get engaged in the beginning of your curl, and then whichever muscle controlling the last bit of motion at the top, that is going to be uneven. Now, when you're using a resistance band, it's opposite. When you're using a resistance band, the hardest part is the last part of your curl. The lower down, the easier. So when the band is here by my side, I have the other end under my foot, and then the band is here in my hand, down by my side. The beginning of the curl, this first quarter, first half, that's super easy. That's usually the hardest part of the curl with the free weight. But with the band, this part's easy. But when you get past this part, get to the top. The higher, the further you stretch the band, the harder it is. So it's working the part of your muscle that the free weight is neglecting. So if you want a very balanced, very evenly built bicep, you got to work both the free weight and resistance band to take care of both ends of the spectrum. With resistance band, you can hold it in hammer grip or in regular underhanded grip or even in motorcycle grip. And then you do your curl, nice and slow, no jerky motion. Down, up, down, up, and down, up, and down. There's literally tens and hundreds of ways, more ways to do curl, but hopefully the 7 basic ways to build your bicep will give you guys something to start with. Thank you for checking out today's Fitness 101, Fitness Friday. Sorry, got it confused with the podcast. We are on the podcast, it's called Fitness 101. Thank you for checking out today's Fitness Friday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Survival Saturday. For now, have a good workout and have a good evening.